Peace, peace.
Peace, 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 people. What's up, Soul Tribe?
Indeed. What's up, world?
What is it really? Geesh. We've been trying to go live for 20 minutes. We've been trying to go live for 20 minutes.
But we in here now.
Yeah. Consistency,
Mm-hmm.
persistence,
Consistency.
determination.
Yeah.
Determination. Peace.
That's what it
Slide
is.
on in here so we can do the
Perseverance.
roll
Troy.
call.
What's up? What's up?
Slide on in here so we can do the roll call.
Jerry. Who that? Jarrara boy. Yeah. Greg. Peace, peace.
Peace. Peace, Jerry.
Let me open it, John, up on the phone.
Greg. Yes. Y'all in here. Y'all see, look, I'm going to upload the video because it said that we were live and we were not. We didn't have a device streaming, but the camera was recording everything we've been doing this whole time. So, yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on. I just know I felt very off all day today. I have felt extremely off. I couldn't put a finger on why. And then we try to get on here and we can't go live, but it's still recording us and streaming it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just really don't even understand how this is even a thing. Yeah, saw a video on TikTok. My best friend, she liked to pull me in rabbit holes too. And she was just like, look, I'm just going to search for people's names, you know, and you'll be able to see them through any platform that they seem like that you, any platform that you got open on your device or your phone or whatever. And so the camera is always recording you
Mm-hmm.
nonstop. And, that was like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, that's, they might do that.
Yep.
And then it happened today. And I'm like, damn, no, they doing
Doing it.
that.
Exactly.
So, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Corey, peace, peace. Big up to you too.
Peace, peace, peace,
Yeah,
Corey.
yeah. So yeah, y'all
Crazy.
still coming in, Queen of Rise.
Did you
Yeah.
did you make those DM too?
No,
You
actually,
didn't DM
one of them
those?
bulbs out. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, that
Okay.
might be the reason why I didn't
Maybe
do it.
that's why I noticed.
Let me see. Yeah, nah. What's up, bro?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, y'all see, we
That's
just
what
we
it
just we
is.
just chilling like two villains today.
Mm-hmm.
Real laid back. Gonna ease into this information. I'm Camson the Oracle, if you
And
don't know,
and I am Ernest,
and
and
we
we
are
are
Remnants
Remnants
Gathering.
Gathering,
Also,
Widow,
gang
Gang
gang.
Gang.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
um, but I put a whole show together
T. Thomas, peace.
for tonight.
Zen, M, peace.
Peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, then that just reminds me, like,
Caesar,
keep myself in the vibration that I want to be in. Y'all,
shame cleans
I
for
think,
sure. Yeah,
yes. Like,
yeah.
I think, no, I don't think, I know this, Bakur is smoking his ass off.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness, y'all gotta get y'all some of this. This Nassim Bakur, oh, it's made out of oud. You know, I have this infatuation with oud,
Love this. Yeah,
resins,
yeah.
frankincense, Egyptian musk. It's just certain things that are very powerful metaphysically
TD
speaking.
Customs, peace,
So yes,
peace.
we highly recommend that you all get this. Sometimes you need something stronger than sage and Palo Santo. And so whatever we had going on today that wasn't allowing us to get on
Thanks,
here,
thanks,
I was like,
Greg.
okay, you know what? We need to clear out the space. Let's bring out the big dogs. So
Ashe,
Nassim
Ashe.
Bakur. You can get it on Amazon. We go to like the Mediterranean market and anywhere to sell hookahs.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, they have them as well too. But it's really, really potent, and it's a really good way to neutralize energy, or you could say cast out spirits. It's all the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured we need to do that because we was having so many issues. It ain't never took 20 minutes for us to get on the live, and I almost gave up. I was just like, fuck it, let's just record the video and upload it because. And then I was like, you know what? Let's try one more time. So here we are. Yes, here we are. And as you can see, yes,
Ricochet,
ooh is the
7.
shit.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you. Greg, thank you for that donation. May that
yeah.
return back to
Oh
you
yeah.
multiplied in
Who
abundance.
was that? You open up, you paid the paid something on the light bill for the church.
Yeah,
May the Lord
yeah.
bless you. Shoot. Money is money, right? And it is energy. You can make it
Yeah.
work for you. So, y'all, the topic, shame.
Releasing
Sheesh.
it. The
Releasing that.
binding.
Releasing that. Look,
Yes.
I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't have all the answers, but I do feel like I have a lot of resolutions that can be used. So if this information resonates with you, then take it and try it out for yourself. Don't take our word for it. But what we're experiencing right now, um, tapping into the collective, the unconscious of the collective, and I feel this huge shame purge. And so I feel like a lot of us would be more powerful in our magical workings if we would purge ourselves of the shame and the guilt. And so what happens is,
Easier said than done.
it definitely, because just think about it. People who feel like they want to be love and light, all white magic, like that's great, and there's a place for that. But there's also something called toxic positivity. So like we be trying to be positive so fucking much that it gets toxic when you feel like you're not being positive enough, and then shame and guilt latches on to you, and before you know it, you in a position where you looking at all of your fucking obstacles and problems and limitations, but you not doing a damn thing to change any of it. And you feel like, well, I really don't want to try to do anything to change it because my vibration ain't right. So I don't want to be doing this, and my vibration, you know what I'm saying, not supportive of me. Like, I get that. I get it. It happens to me. I know some of y'all probably think that I feel like I'm one of the most powerful witches in the world, but no, I do not. I have this voice that tells me that I am not capable of writing a spell just out the blue. And it'll be right when I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do some spell work about this situation, and then all of a sudden I get flooded with all this shit, and it's just like, that's
Doubting.
not gonna work.
Yeah.
It didn't work the last time, and just all types of bullshit. And then before I know it, then you start hearing the voices of maybe like your family and friends, and they just like, I knew she was doing witchcraft, like I knew she was worshiping the devil or something, because she manifested this and that real quick. It's in your head, it's in your mind, and you just like, oh, and then you start feeling doubt. Then you start feeling like, well, do I even deserve to manifest the thing that I'm asking for? Like, okay, I'm saying that I'm ready to be wealthy, but then soon as I have money trouble, I'm stressed the fuck out, and my relationship is not going well because I'm stressed out. So, like, am I really ready to be wealthy? Like, this is the question. And sometimes it's good for you to stop, take a pause, and observe and ask yourself these questions. You must remember, y'all, we are gods and goddesses who are awakening. So we have like these ancient ruins that we have to go through. And it's like being an architect seeking to rebuild. But first you gotta destroy some stuff.
That's right.
And first you got, like, once you go in with the wrecking ball, and smashing everything, even the stuff that maybe was sentimental for you, like when you realize it's not serving you no more, it just do you a lot better just to let it go. And so what happens is, when you're going through that phase of your awakening, of your soul becoming whole again, returning back to itself, what you get in a war between your old self and your new self. And so whatever spirits was working with you, some spirits maybe that was working with you when you was the old you, they might not fuck with the new you. So like, I mean, if people are like that, spirits can be like that too. So it's just like, maybe like a year or two ago, when you was at a different consciousness level, maybe that particular thing was working for you. A great example would be using the cash book. Me and Ernest would use the cash book to manifest money. And so, but then when I shifted more to studying the dark goddesses and studying the death current, to learn how to let things die, let things go, to be able to not wait on chaos to happen to me, but actually be in alignment and where I'm in the eye of the storm. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning how to work with the chaotic energy.
Mm-hmm.
So, like using the cash book, in which I know I'm using a tetragrammaton, that's not resonating with me as much. So my higher self will just block it. Or I'll try to ignore it and then I'll start doing it and then I'll just have this feeling like, something feels off and maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this. And so because none of us are experts at this point, we're here on this planet to learn. So you might find people to know a lot more than you, but ultimately we all know something, and we're
Mm-hmm.
all here to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is typically, you will begin the spell work or whatever it is you're doing, and so all of these different voices start chiming in. So specifically, astrologically, because this is a lot of Taurian energy that we're in coming up with the full moon, I feel like for a lot of us, we're more focused on the material gain, our material wealth, our material well-being, making sure that you got everything that you need because we might have another lockdown or like whatever, wanting to
Mm-hmm.
have food and water stocked up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know I'm not the
It's
only
all
one,
a
and so
necessity. Yep.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And so but then there's also this other part of you where you don't feel like you have a strong sense of self. You don't have a strong sense of who you are. Maybe you feel like you just now getting to know parts of yourself that you was in denial about for most of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're having to accept the fact that, yeah, I am codependent. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I am abusive. Yeah, I am narcissistic. I am very egotistical where it's not even necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do get triggered easily and go from 0 to 60.
Yeah,
Yes, I
I
do
have.
have issues with rage. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I do get very depressed. Yes,
I
I've been
do get
stuck in the dark
fearful.
night of the soul for a long time.
I do have
I
a
do
lot of
get fearful.
shame. Yes.
Yeah. So it's
Mm-hmm.
releasing the shame that's going to allow you to break through if this is resonating with you. If you're dealing with some of that, it's releasing the shame about it. And so like the show tonight, that's mostly what we're going to be talking about. But when I was like consulting with my higher self and my guides, and I was like, what is the main fucking problem? Like, what is the real issue here? Like, just tell me so that I can with more clarity,
Mm-hmm.
be able to shoot off my rockets of motherfucking desire and get that shit accurate,
Mm-hmm.
like, cause I'm misfiring and I'm manifesting, but then I manifest a bunch of bullshit like with the good stuff that's coming in, and so and my thoughts not where it needs to be. I'm not focused on marinating myself in the thoughts that's gonna tenderize me to be ready to receive. I got some issues receiving, like I'm just having this conversation and I'm like, I feel like the collective unconscious may be experiencing some of this too, like what's the issue? And they was like, shame. They was like, shame is the issue. And I was like, well, no, we didn't dealt with that, especially us in our tribe. We didn't had, the things we've done together. We've done healing rituals together. We have done the group meditations, visualizations. We've had Zoom meetings. We do bills together. Like we really been getting it in for the last few years, especially for those of you who've been with us for that long. Some of
Mm-hmm.
y'all just binge watch and catch up and do the work. And I'll do a reading with y'all and y'all just blow my mind. And you're like, yeah, I found you a few months ago and I binge watch and I learned how to do this and I did that. And you're like, your growth is faster because of me and Ernest sharing where we are, which is really, really beautiful. But even still, with all of that, we're lacking power. We're lacking the power that is necessary to manifest the things that we want. Because I believe that people like us, we came here with huge dreams, but the obstacles maybe were equivalent to our dreams. And so what happens is when you get to a certain stage in your path and you don't feel like it's a lot of things that you desire to do that you haven't been able to do. And you feel like you're not progressing the way that you need to be. You feel like maybe you're sabotaging your own life with the shit that you think about, with the things that you're eating, the things that you do that you know feel like you shouldn't be doing. I mean, it's so many different levels to it. Maybe you feel like some of the shit that you're going through is connected to a karmic pattern. And maybe it really don't have anything to do with you. You just happen to be in a relationship with the person, and so by default, it's affecting you too. You know, it's a lot, and it's a lot of different energies that you are learning how to tune into and feel and discern. And so what happens is you feel like because of maybe what you've seen, I mean, social media, AI is really, really good at doing this. AI really do like be on some bully shit sometimes, and like the very things that you don't want to be seeing is what you're seeing. So like for those of you who maybe aren't in relationships right now, and you seeing people booed up, and it almost seems like your ass just been targeted, and like every ad, like everything that you see, it's like some shit to make you feel bad, and before you know it, you're feeling like, damn, this the third holiday season in a row that I've been single. Well, I guess this is for me. I guess, you know, I guess I just need to accept the fact that, you know, I'm not going, I mean, it spirals off into your mind start just being very catastrophic. And so you're visualizing and you're meditating, but you're doing it in the form of worry. You're doing it in the form of ruminating, not wanting to let stuff go. That's visualization and meditation too. So what happens is if you're doing more of that than you are active visualization meditation, setting the intention, and this is what the fuck the outcome is going to be. This is what it is. Ashe. Like if you're not doing that as much as the erosive thoughts coming through, like if you're not dealing with that, peace dream, then your magic is not going to be as effective because you not in alignment to receive the shit you doing magic to create. You got to be in alignment with it. So, you know, what's fucking a lot of us up is the shame and the guilt. Let's be real here. A lot of us, the way we was raised and grew up, we were raised to believe that our families, the temperature of our family was based on what we did. I know y'all resonate with this. See, this is that star seed shit. Because you a whole kid, but you're very egocentric, and you feel like everything that you do has a domino effect in your family structure, whoever raised you. So I need to be in full control over myself so that I don't make daddy mad. So I don't make mama mad. So I don't be the reason they get into an argument, you know, and get to fighting again. Yeah. And so that's the downside of being a star seed, is that you feel this huge, like, at too young of an age, you feel a huge responsibility to keep everybody around you happy, to try to create peace, to try not to ever get in trouble, you know. And what that does is that puts an imprint on your brain that is not safe for you to do anything other than what you had to do to be safe in your upbringing. So, like, you know, so even though we know we are already in hell, at this point, we know this is hell. And it is up to us to be alchemists and take these negative energies and use them to create our own bliss, to create our own reality, the life that is in alignment with who we are, our authentic self. And so what happens is, I believe this, like I believe this so strongly because this was fucking with me so bad. And I pride myself on being able to push myself. Yeah. Peace, sis. I pride myself on being able to push myself to be productive, to get shit done, to not get in front of y'all talking about some bullshit that you ain't gonna be able to use to transform your life. Like, I really pride myself on that shit. So when I have a block,
killing it though. She be killing it. Go ahead.
Thank you, baby. When I have a block, I know it's not because I'm mentally being lazy or spiritually my hygiene is not where it needs to be. So by releasing the shame of whatever it is that you feel like you should have manifested by now, by letting that shit go and being like, you know what, I'm letting this go. For some of us, maybe we did our first reverse evil spell and the shit worked, and you like, yo, the word get back to you, and you like, damn, I ain't mean to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't trying to fuck them up that bad, you know. Damn, all 4 of their tires was on flat when they got out of work this morning, and they was stranded, and then they ain't got no way back and forth to work, and they got fired. Damn, I was just, you know, like, it happens like that. And so that'll turn into a reason to feel guilty. You'd be like, well, you know, maybe I shouldn't be doing any type of defensive magic, right? But that's mind fuckery of the 3D matrix to keep you vulnerable, to make you be a prey. Because what happens is that's the false morality system that was set up to keep us in line so that we don't. Look, you have as much power as inside of your soul that it took to incarnate into a body is still sitting with you right now. So if you are in the mindset of colonizing people, in the mindset of trying to keep people separated into these factions, into these hierarchies, right? Socialism, Marxists, like people with all these agendas and shit. Like, we're dealing with all of that because they're manipulating magic, and they're doing everything they can to manipulate the masses. So, you know, all of this is like a soup. A soup of 2D, 3D, 4D. It's all mixed up right now, and it's weird, and nothing feels really clear for you. And it's like you know you need to do something and take action, but then you like, how do I proceed if I'm not feeling powerful in my sense of self? Because if I'm unsure about myself, and if when I'm alone by myself, that I'm allowing myself to get jumped and beat up every day, and my lunch money getting took, and like these demons is just, they kicking my ass every day, and I'm allowing it to happen. Well, now I don't even feel worthy, right, to wield power, to use magic, to allow my spirituality to, you know, grow as a result of the challenges. Like, you just get in this space, and so that's really what it is. We be on some real victim shit. And when your inner child has not been given enough attention that it needs to heal so that you can move past some of the trauma, the inner child is going to be the one that's manifesting in your life and doing all the magic. So the wounded inner child will become the fucking magician. So it's like pulling puppet strings and shit in your subconscious mind, and you don't know what's going on, and you can't figure out why it's certain challenges that's not changing for you, no matter what you do. So I believe that the root of all of this, of course, every emotion comes from either fear or love. I do believe that at this point. So when you look at shame is directly connected to fear. And we know that these emotions are used as spiritual concentration camps by the people who want to continue ruling this world. So I believe I have found proof, but I'm looking for more because I want to go as deep as I can on this. But I do believe that some of the 5D that's coming in for us, the 5G frequency is there just like a binaural beat to reverse engineer it, or even to make it backfire so that you're afraid of going into that higher dimension, because you feel it. You know that you're going to have to start being more accountable, more responsible for everything that happens in your life, whether you feel like it was your fault or not. And so if you grew up in a family that had any type of scarcity or poverty, on top of religion, a God that hates your fucking guts, a God that hates everything about anybody with neuromelanin, well, that's going to be interfering with your path. So what it feels like to me is these negative entities leave these imprints on us. And so by allowing ourselves to be in the vibration of shame and feeling guilty about shit, that right there, for me, like that's more scary to me than what the devil used to be when I was religious. Because I'm like, this shit right here stops you from healing. This shit right here stops you from becoming your best self. This shit right here, it stops you from being able to love for real. So you get stuck in like this pseudo intimacy pattern, and you don't even know how to be intimate for real, even with your own self. You have a difficult time. You have pseudo self-acceptance. You know, everything is pseudo because the subconscious mind is not ready to accept the new program, because you need to purge and remove the old files of shame and guilt. Thank you for that donation.
Yes, Tenny.
May they go back to you. I don't know why I thought it
Multiplied
had
in
a little
abundance.
poop
Yes.
dancing. I was like, damn, we the shit. I ain't got my glasses on, so I can't see that good.
I don't know what that is,
but no, it's
but
not
yeah, it's
poop.
something dancing.
Yeah, it's something dancing. I was like, damn, they got a little dancing turd. I had to look closer. You know, I try not to get offended by anything. Most of the time, I you know, I do the opposite. So I'm just like, is that a dancing turd?
That's right,
I'm like,
Lady
that's
Al.
the shit.
Shadow work is a lifetime journey. Yes.
Absolutely.
We were
Yes.
talking about that.
Yes.
That was one of the realizations that we spoke on just in our personal dialogue. Yeah.
You are not going to arrive and feel like I'm here now and it's done.
Never.
That's not what we came here to do. We came here to have the fucking experience that we are having.
7.
Ashe.
May they return back to you,
What's up,
multiplied
man?
in
We ain't seen you in a minute.
abundance. 2222.
Man, that was beautiful. That hit my heart and my sacral chakra.
Yeah,
and
and
that
my
orange.
pocket.
Right, and my pocket. Like, thank you.
Yes, sir.
For real, for real.
Everything
y'all
counts, y'all. For
look,
everybody that shares and gives.
I promise it
that's
does.
energy that's returning back to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why we be working so hard to make it do what it do. And look, we have all the same challenges that y'all do. But like, you know, it's just like this do or die at this point. It's like either you're going to evolve or you're going to die. That's just it. So we're in a space where you can't be wishy-washy. You really have to choose who you're gonna be each day.
Yeah.
You can't go on autopilot anymore and just go with the wind.
Love you too.
Know.
Love you too, sister. Yeah.
We
Women's
appreciate
love life.
that.
Yes. Yeah. The struggle is
say
real,
thank you,
y'all. The struggle
Vernita.
is real. Yeah.
We got a new Patreon. Yes, a new patron, Vernita. I say
Cool
to
for rock
you.
and roll. Yeah.
Yes, and
Phil,
for
is that you?
everybody
Is
that
that you,
signed
Phil?
up, huh?
No, he cool for rock and roll. He acknowledged
okay.
that shade. Yeah, I almost went
Oh, thank you.
I almost went just man.
He wanted to go bare, and I'm like, you make me feel weird when you do that. You know, like the older dude, and he's still trying to holler at the younger chicks.
Which I don't.
Right. But, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, but still, you know, like, that's that older dude who's still trying to wear Jordans and shit.
Phil. Yeah.
Feeling.
When you say still trying to wear Jordans?
You know, the old head be at the club. He clean shaven and shit, but you can look at him and tell that his ass is much older.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a lot of experience with
Yeah.
men trying to look younger than they really was, and so
Yeah.
I prefer he keep at least a little hair on there, so he met both of our needs. With this one.
Yeah, because that show was like off with it.
So okay. So
Yeah,
thank y'all for signing up for Patreon too. Like
Yeah.
that shit over there is some shit you ain't gonna get over here. I don't even feel comfortable talking about certain things
Thank you,
on
sis.
any other platform.
Yeah.
So kudos to y'all for signing up, because y'all getting to work. And actually tonight, what I'm gonna do, hey, for anybody that signed up
What's
for
up,
Patreon
David?
tonight, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post a new ritual that I created, and I've done this a couple times, and I want to see how it worked, but I'm gonna share with you a death ritual where you're going to embrace death. You're going to murder your false self. Sometimes you got to do it more than one time. It's like shedding skin like a snake, season by season. And I'm going to put that on the Patreon. As soon as we get off of here,
I think I gotta
I'm
do
going
that
to go
next
put
week.
that on there. Yeah.
I
do
might
think
have
it's
to
the
do
best
that
time.
daily.
Yeah.
Yeah, just me. This is just me, personally speaking. Yeah.
So, you know, you can't, if you doing the shadow work is great. The self-love is great. Like on this spiritual
We got
path,
to.
people will hype you up about a whole lot of other stuff and deities and nether rules and this and this and that and orishas and but you
Let's
got to
pump the
be
brakes
able
on that.
to tap into your own sense of self.
Bingo.
So that you have access to your own soul's power. So
Yes.
that's kind of been the direction. that I've been going in, even with the products we've been making. That's been the goal.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we finally got the trial size Collie Lotus Lux too, because I was all this shit been going on. I'm like, yeah, we do need a small one where you can just grab it and put it in your bag. You don't have to wear it if you don't want to. And you can just put it in your bag, your purse, your pocket, your wallet, or whatever. And it's a small enough size where you could do your spiritual work, be protecting yourself, all of that good stuff. So check that out on the website after the show. So let's get into the astrology portion of the show. So Astrology King, alongside Cafe Astrology, VedicAstrology.com, and it's Mayan Astrology. We have a couple of favorites that we use. Try to make sure that I give credits because I'm not an astrologer. I'm just an intuitive. But when I'm picking up channel messages for the collective, and then there's an astrologer who confirms the message that I was getting, then that's usually when I go into sharing the astrology. So I want to break down the energy so that we can figure out how to get in where we fit in and do something that's actually going to be beneficial for us. So the Taurus full moon is on Friday, November 19th, and it's going to be a partial lunar eclipse as well. So you may even be already feeling this, especially if you're sensitive to energy. So it aligns with Algol, which is the most destructive star in heaven. Yes, Algol or Algol. Is it Algol?
I think that's Algol.
Algol. So this death ritual is going to be so perfect when we got a lunar eclipse and this most destructive star in the cosmos present. This is confirmation that how powerful this is going to be. So it causes misfortune, violence, and sickness. So the spiritual meaning of the full moon, November 2021 astrology relates to using honesty, faith, a strong sense of purpose to evolve your soul to a higher level. Do y'all feel this? Because I definitely feel it, and it's kind of scary. I'm being forced to die again and let shit go to be transformed into my highest version of myself on that journey. So the November 2021 full moon square Jupiter adds the risk of greed, immorality, irresponsibility, and excessiveness, feeding into the destructive and brutal nature of Algol. So we're probably gonna see this like with state representatives, things like that. We're gonna see a whole lot of chaos and footage of some of their briefings. Yeah, so just know that we're gonna be seeing more of that. And with this star being so destructive, and we all know that the abyss has been opened and unlocked, and so spirits and shit just running around doing whatever, which is why we have to tap into this information and start making it a part of our everyday life. Okay. So the lunar eclipse is also trine Pluto, which encourages positive transformation and spiritual evolution. The lunar eclipse, November 2021 astrology can help you access the deepest, darkest areas of your subconscious mind, exposing them to eliminate fear and heal past trauma. Like a regular full moon, only stronger. The sun opposite the moon of a lunar eclipse brings your home, family, and intimate relationships into sharper focus. So with this being said, thank you. With this being said, we will also share with you all a spell that you can do for the purpose of mental health. Okay, because whenever we're dealing with destructive, chaotic energy, astrologically speaking, then this is typically the time, especially during a full moon and a lunar eclipse, where it maybe is more of a challenge for you to be mentally balanced, okay, and healthy, and maybe even for your children and family too, because as we can see, this is what this is bringing our attention to. So maybe things happening in your own home or family, and the whole reason it's happening is just to bring your attention awareness to it so that we can be a part of the solution and not being a part of the problem, okay? Now, opposing forces such as work versus home or what you need versus what you want create inner tension and external pressures. This can lead to conflict and crisis that drain your energy. Definitely been feeling that one. Definitely been feeling that one. The lunar qualities of emotions and instincts reach their peak at a lunar eclipse. So use your increased emotional strength and intuition to overcome any relationship challenges. Subconscious awareness allows for an impartial and balanced look at your personal relationships. You will clearly see any relationship dynamics or negative feelings causing disharmony. A lunar eclipse represents a resetting of your emotions, clearing away the emotional baggage of the previous 6 months. Now, here are some of the eclipse aspects. Moon square Jupiter can make you hopeful and enthusiastic, but exaggerated emotional reactions and impulses can bring carelessness. Pay attention, y'all, because this shit been happening. We've been having this happen already. Carelessness, especially with your words and your tone. Irresponsibility and excessiveness. Loss and disappointment may result from blind faith, overconfidence, greed, and immorality. So this is not the false morality. When I'm talking about immorality, that's the shit. That's when you betray your own self, or when it's some shit that you said you was not gonna do no more or never do, and then you do it. Like that's like self betrayal. So for me, that is the only thing that's really immoral. At this point, I'm working on releasing all negative judgments about shit and just being like, you know what? Everybody entitled to their own experience, just like I am, you know. And so instead of using these moral compasses that was passed down to me by society, I'm going to create my own moral compass, right? And so just not betraying your own self. Just remember that you are God, right? You are what is called the Holy Spirit in your higher potential form. So that means that, you know, the only thing that was unforgivable in the Bible was like blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, right? So like when you don't believe in your own self, and when it's a challenge for you to believe in yourself and be loyal to your own self, to treat yourself the way that you want other people to treat you, like when that get imbalanced, yeah, then you're not following a moral compass that's set for you in your path. So create your own moral compass. But yeah, so that's just a little piece that about that maybe I haven't communicated about what I feel like immorality is. But you may experience changeable moods, and changing tastes can cause relationship difficulties. That's definitely been happening too. Whether you're a twin flame or soulmate or just in a situationship or a fucking messy ass relationship, you're gonna be feeling this because Venus in retrograde as well. So yeah, our taste is changing. Like what you used to like, you don't like no more. Maybe things that turned you on don't turn you on anymore. Maybe things that I like as you. This the thing. These are the things that we forget about. Like as you're going through these rebirth and regeneration, these phoenix rise from the ashes phases in your awakening. Yeah, your taste changes and a lot of things change, and you try to make it be the same and it just ain't the same anymore. So again, this is we want to support releasing the stuff that's blocking us, right? So yeah, disloyalty would very likely lead to embarrassment or scandal when exposed. So we will see more people getting exposed, you know, like we already have been, but it's gonna turn up in the months coming. A tendency to lower your standards if dating could also have the same result. So for those of you who's single, like this is not the time to lower your standards. Keep your shit high. Your taste is your taste. It is what it is, and hold on to that. And whoever it is that's coming to the table and they just not bringing to the table what you need them to bring to the table, don't try to force yourself. Be like, okay, this ain't no, this ain't it. Thank you, nice meeting you, and whatever. You know, like this is not the time to be lowering your standards. And furthermore, because with this high emotional energy, it's going to be a lot of psychic vampirism going on. So you just want to make sure you're being sensitive to your energy, your auric field, your space, so that you're not allowing people into your space that you don't feel really comfortable with allowing into your space. And again, don't feel guilty about it. Maybe you used to pride yourself on not being high maintenance, and maybe now you feel Like you have maintenance because your taste is changing. Don't judge yourself for that, right? There's no reason to judge yourself for that. It just is what it is. So yeah, so people might be like, I used to be good enough for you, and you're like, that's the key word. You used to be good enough. It's just not a good fit anymore. It's not personal. Like, that's my favorite line. It's not personal. It's not personal. Moon trine Pluto brings emotional sensitivity and psychic perception. So you will feel things more powerfully, and you are likely to be transformed by your intense emotional reactions, especially those of us who were sensitive children, and maybe that was shut down because the way you was raised, you couldn't be being sensitive, especially if you was a little melanated boy. You know, that definitely, that your ass will get an exorcism plan for you being too damn sensitive, and you in a masculine body. And so we're healing some of those things. So yes, you will feel things in a very powerful way. A subconscious urge to evolve at the emotional level assists with the Jupiter urge to expand your horizons. I've been feeling that too. It helps you focus your energy and grow in the direction that best aligns with your karmic destiny. Psychological self-analysis is favored, and you can access the deep, dark areas of your subconscious. You may also be driven to probe the feelings of other people, and subconscious communication is possible. I do that a lot. I probe a lot, don't. Intense emotional connections may result in new karmic relationships.
God damn it.
All right. So it's good to do. This is the archaeological dig that the cosmos has created for us in this time. Now, let's talk about the eclipse aspect and the patterns of that. So, the quadrilateral aspect pattern created by the Sun, Moon, and Jupiter and Pluto is called an animated figure. It helps you bring things to life at the physical or mental level using imagination, patience, and a lot of hard work. Repressed emotions are reactivated. You hear this? Repressed emotions are reactivated and made conscious, and thoughts or memories are evoked. So even if you're not doing it on purpose, you may find yourself experiencing and feeling this, and just observe it. Like I said, the main thing about shame and guilt, once you stop being judgmental, then it begins to not have as much power over you, and you can just observe that it's happening. So you might get reactivated, but because you're bringing awareness, a heightened awareness to that moment, then you're not going to let it go how it usually go, you know. So the strongest influence on the full moon November 2021 astrology is the fixed star Algol. This most dangerous or fixed star causes misfortune, extremism, brutality, violence, mob violence, sickness, and death. Sounds like this season fits in very, very well with people who seek to control the masses, huh? This is why in this season you need to make sure, you will benefit you to make sure that you are practicing good spiritual hygiene, that you are commanding your own energy and setting your intention for your days. Because with this situation just set up right here, this stage is set up for them to really kill it. No pun intended, you know? So we might see a lot of back and forth about the vaccinations real soon. And that has a lot to do with this energy. So with the moon in particular, Algol causes extreme sickness, accidents, and severe injuries. This eclipse is likely to have a detrimental effect on the coronavirus pandemic. Algol is also associated with genetics, mutation, and evolution. Okay? So you see how they look. If you don't, back in the day, only royal people paid attention to what was going on with the cosmos, and it will give direction as to what they were doing in their lives. So if we are returning back to our sovereign selves, and coming to the awareness, accepting the fact that we are royalty, you know, and we are divinity having a human experience, right? Then yeah, they're gonna capitalize off this energy. So when you see them turn up, you turn up. Like, and don't even wait on them to turn up, but I'm just saying, if they turn up and you haven't turned up, you need to turn up, or you go get caught up in the spiritual sauce and get lost in all of the psychic hauntings that's going on right now. So we're going to see a lot going on with mutations as to this whole pandemic thing going on. And so this is why I'm going to do War on Consciousness Part 2. I'm putting a few more things together because that build is going to be another historical build. I'm really taking my time gathering the information, but it sounds like I definitely do this before the year is out. Will be beneficial for us. So the crown chakra attack pandemic will continue to evolve through new variants. Okay, so we might even see the lambda variant be talked about a lot that I've been talking about for a few months. So if they are resistant to current vaccinations, then more sickness and death may follow. Algol belongs to the constellation Perseus, which is associated with events affecting large numbers of people.
Thank you, Ashley.
Especially those events caused by major meteorological phenomena. Algol causes extremes, and the eclipse square Jupiter amplifies the negative effect of extreme weather. So with what's going on with the volcanoes and everything, as you can see, y'all, this is death, destruction, right? Chaos. And so that means that there's a lot of programmable energy available to us. So what you don't want to do is try to continue on your evolution and you try to take shame and guilt and fear with you. Like, of course, yes, take it with you, meaning don't let stuff paralyze you where you don't even make no plans to take action. Like, at least do micro goals and just one step at a time, walking in a direction where you desire to be in. But I'm gonna give you all this ritual, and then we're gonna get into the book that we've been reading. We think it'd be really helpful for everybody. So this is what I want you to do. If this is resonating with you, when we pick back up, can you just pick up with that? Okay. If this information is resonating with you, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to repost the false self funeral that I have used many times. Now, let me tell you all, I'd like to make the rituals simple, but effective. So this is what you need to do if this resonates. You don't need to. You don't even have to, but you can. Print out a picture of yourself. Okay. Preferably a picture that's far enough back where you know for sure you're not that person anymore. If you can find a picture that's a season where you know for sure, like, I am not that person anymore, right? We're going to give our false self a funeral. And so this is really like a banishing, right? And so what you do is, once you got the picture printed out of yourself, make sure it's just you and nobody else on there. This is just for you, for your evolution. Once you have that, sit that to the side, get a mason jar. And what you're going to do is you're going to fill the bottom of the mason jar with sea salt. So this is your foundation. This is your protective barrier. And this will kind of also act as a representation of earth. So if you want to put some soil in there, you can. It's up to you. But the salt will be good enough. Salt also preserves. So if you're killing your false self, but you're still reserving any part of your authentic self that was caught up in the mix of that energy. So this is kind of like getting really detailed with our makeup. So once you've done that and you have the picture in there, what you want to do is, before you put the picture in, you want to take the picture and you're going to roll it or fold it away from you. Okay, so everything is going to be kind of like done in reverse, because you're seeking to reverse the impacts that you had from the indoctrination and the brainwashing and everything else, society's pressures, cultural beliefs, traditions, all that. Anything that's not serving you anymore. You want to write it on the back of the picture, first of all. Write on the back of the picture. So whatever characteristics of you at that time that you know is not serving you to be that way anymore, write that on the back of the picture. After you finish writing everything you can think of down, You want to fold the picture away from you. Okay, sending this energy away, signifying symbolically that I'm ready to release this from me. So once you've done that, put it in a mason jar. And like I said, I'm keeping it super simple, and seal it up. If you have a plant in the house, you can put it down inside of that plant. If you don't, you could bury it. Some people, um, from my research, it has been times where people will go and find other practitioners' bottles and jars and stuff and dig them up and do spell work on them. If you have a concern for anything like that happening, like if you don't have your own land or something like that, another option of what you could do instead of using the mason jar, you can just use you could use like a styrofoam cup, or you could use a plastic bag and do this with as well. So whatever variations you feel comfortable with, but you just want to make sure that you're
Ziploc.
giving your false self some type of container where nothing else is going to be mixed up in that working. Okay. Um, and another option, you can use your own urine. And urine is very powerful for magic. Like I really believe urine kind of gets slept on as far as its use in magic. So you could also use your own urine and put it in the mason jar with your old self, with the things that you are releasing from you. Now, urine represents waste as well. So this is the fluid that is left over once your body takes what it needs, right? So this is also symbolic of you releasing the waste, releasing the stuff that, is no longer needed. So you could do that as well. And that would degrade and erode the picture and what you wrote on it, so you don't have to be worried about somebody finding it and doing. I mean, people do crazy shit, you just never know. So that's another variation. Another thing that you can do is use parchment paper or paper bag. Once you write everything on there, I recommend doing you a circle of salt or wherever your working is to protect the work that you're doing, especially when you're doing magic that is focused on you and your well-being and things like that. Create a sacred space for it. And sea salt is like one of the most simple ways. Cascarilla, you could use that, which is just eggshells that's been grounded and powdered down. You can use your own ashes from ancestor money, maybe that you've been burning. We keep our ashes, so you can also use that as well. And you can put your own spin to this, but I'm just giving you some options of how you could do this. It's not just one way. And then you could burn it, and be sure to use fire safety and just burn it safely. And once it burns and it's done, be done. Like whatever it is that you release, don't look back. So like once you get rid of it, to me, if you're just burning in this paper and it's ashes, you can just put it in your garbage can. Ashes, you can flush them down the toilet, or you could take them outside or put them in a plant. So it's up to you. So those are just a lot of different variations of the same thing. And this is what I call a false self funeral. So this is a death ritual to open up the space for the new you that is trying to come in. And I know I'm not the only one feeling this, and I know Ernest's been dealing with it, but you feel the old 3D you and you feel the 4D you, and and you're in this tug of war with yourself. So and if you want to add some candle magic to this, I would say use a black candle and just let that burn while you're doing this to banish away that energy. Now, whenever you remove something or banish something to get rid of something, sometimes where we fuck up at is we don't put something else in its place. So once you've done this part, now you need to create the person, make it tangible. Put it on paper. This is who the fuck I am. This is what I'm about. I don't do shame. I don't do guilt. I do not, I do not deal with judgment from others or to others. Like whatever it is, but be very specific about the person that you're ready to quantum shift into being. And once you have wrote everything down, I have specific pens that I use only for things that I want to manifest. So I recommend you doing that. You could color code the ink. You know, if you want to manifest with
That's right.
more
That's right,
energy
Phil.
for your heart chakra, you could get a green pen or a green coloring pencil. Again, just
Mm-hmm.
using color coordination. And I really want y'all to get jiggy with your own magic, and so that you can tap into your own power
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess we could pick up on the book we've been reading.
Okay, okay. Just want to just say that as far as the booking calendar, that issue has been fixed. So for those that had wanted to book the Dark Goddess reading, the calendar is now working, so you
Yeah.
can go ahead and schedule your booking session. I mean, a reading session. Um, as far as the title, the shame that binds us. Um, that whole subject again, everything that we do is from inspiration, and so um, from my challenges, from my challenges, Cam was searching for answers, um, in how to better deal with me when I'm presenting these real challenging moments. And so she came across a book that just hit it home. We got a library of resourceful books that help us, but this particular one was one that just spoke to her. It just came to her. You know what I'm saying? Intuitively, it came to her. She opened up her phone, and that was the first thing that jumped out at her. And she was like, wow. And so once she got it, we have
I say,
started.
Tenny.
Thank you again, Tenny. Yeah, may that return back to you, multiplied in abundance. And so we got on this, we got on this book. The author's name is John Bradshaw, and it's titled, as is the show, "Releasing the Shame" or "Healing the Shame That Binds You." Healing the Shame That Binds You. And it's such a deep book. And
Yeah.
that's the reason why we said what we said initially about, if you're not looking to work this stuff intentionally yourself, nothing is gonna change. You know what I'm saying? You can't allow, it's not a thing with time that something is just going to materialize for a favorable outcome. No, we got to continue with the shadow work. We got to continue with every possible thing. Um, I got this book, and then I'm gonna get into it. But we talk about resourceful help, and this right here, this is a deck of this is a deck of therapeutic help. This is the dialectic behavioral therapy book, and it helps. Uh,
The card system, not the book. But the book is on
it's a
Amazon
card
too.
system.
The
Yeah,
guy
yeah, yeah.
that created the deck.
He wrote the book too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, the dialectical behavior therapy card system is very helpful. But I just said that and showed you that just to show that we have to really work this stuff, because again, nothing is going to change if we're not finding all of the help that we need in addressing our issues and our challenges. Then nothing's going to change. It actually is going to continue to get worse.
Yeah.
And so whether you working at it by yourself, or whether you got somebody that's an accountability partner with you, do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? And we always here um, um, to bounce things off of, and that's the reason why we deal with this like this. And so yeah, we're gonna read a little bit of the book, and you'll just see exactly how on point um he teaches from personal experiences, as well as now being one that coaches individuals that have these issues and struggles with shame. And so um healing the shame that binds us. When the fear, hurt, and loneliness of the shame in a dysfunctional family reaches high levels of intensity, one person, often the most sensitive, becomes the family scapegoat.
Yeah.
Families are as sick as their toxic shame secrets. See my book, Family Secrets, for a full discussion of the dynamics of toxic shame secrets. Family secrets can go back for generations. They can be about suicides, homicides, incest, abortions, addictions, public loss of faith, financial disaster, and etc. All the secrets get acted out. This is the power of toxic shame.
And a lot of us grew up in all of those situations, or at least one or two of them, you know.
Hmm.
And it's time to release the shame about that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It, it is what it is. It happened. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And Dave Chappelle, I'm gonna let you finish.
That's right, Lady Al.
We watched him yesterday, and he was talking about how he had a priest, a preacher, basically a priest, who was molesting him and performing fellatio on him. And he was just like, I mean, that's major shadow work when you like on the stage in front of
His
a
whole
lot of people.
stand up.
Right.
Yeah.
His whole stand up
You could tell.
was just straight shadow work. That was it. Straight shadow work. And I was sitting up there thinking to myself, that's what holds us back. It's really not the outside stuff that's going on. What holds us back is the inability to live that free.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he played this out in his mind. It's like, look, I'm a black man who's about to admit getting fellatio. People still, a lot of people feel some kind of way about the church, and then you say that, and in the climate that we're in, he took a lot of heat for the conversation about the trans, sexual, and transgender. And so my point is saying that is the most powerful way to really level up is to be able to live your truth just like that.
That's right.
What he confessed that happened to him was one thing, but to say that you liked it, that's a whole other thing.
Right.
That is true shadow work. If shadow work do not allow you to say things that most people would judge you for the sake of not being judged, then you're not really doing shadow work. You might be doing like a pseudo form of shadow work, but you're not really allowing yourself to be exposed to the true depth and depravity and dysfunction and sickness that exists. And as long as you're ignoring it, it's just going to create more issues for you. Yeah. And for your children and so forth and so forth. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to say, I got molested, but one of them times I like that shit. Or all of them times, whatever it is. Like the more you able to not give too many fucks about what people think and live your life as authentic as possible, like it makes the world better because you don't feel disempowered anymore. And now that's the whole King Arthur and the sword thing, and you're accessing that power that was once sealed in stone, and everybody can't just walk up to that sword and pull it out the stone.
That's right.
So, but you got to access that eternal power to be able to even tap into that.
It says the pain and suffering of shame generate automatic and unconscious defenses. Y'all listen. Freud called these defenses by various names: denial, idealization of parents, repression of emotions, and disassociation from emotions. What is important to note is that we can't know what we don't know. Denial, idealization, repression, and disassociation are unconscious survival mechanisms. Because they are unconscious, we lose touch with the shame, hurt, and pain they cover up. We cannot heal what we cannot feel. So without recovery, our toxic shame gets carried for generations. Generations.
Yeah.
Generations. More specifically, these families are created by the shame-based people who find and marry each other. Each expects the other to parent the child within him or her. We talked about that. We dealt with that. That's been part of my issue, moving forward, having that wounded inner child. There are so many times where I look to her and it's out of resentment because she automatically moves as a mother. Whereas I'm like, no, you my partner. But it be times where I need that motherly love, the motherly love that I didn't get. And so it's a weird dynamic, but it's all encompassed in us being twin flames and actually working together through all of our traumas. And so in dealing with this shame. And so each is incomplete and insatiable. The insatiability is rooted in each person's unmet childhood needs.
Yeah.
When two adult children meet and fall in love, did y'all hear that? Did y'all? When two adult children meet and fall in love, the child in each looks to the other to fill his or her needs.
Yeah. And that's something that
It's a lot of adult
we've
children,
been
y'all,
affected by
out
that.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Cause a lot of us,
ultimately, that's what we are.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, by taking on the role of supplying his shame-based parents' narcissistic gratification, the child secures love and a sense of being needed and not abandoned. This process is a reversal of the order of nature.
Mm.
Now the child is taking care of the parent's needs rather than the parents taking care of the child's needs. This caregiver role is strangely paradoxical. In an attempt to secure parental love and avoid being abandoned, the child is in fact being abandoned. Since the child is there for the parent, there is no one to mirror the child's feelings and drives and nurture the child's needs. Any child growing up in such an environment has been wounded by this narcissistic deprivation. This phenomenon can happen in the best of families.
Yeah.
Once the drug of grandiosity is taken away, as soon as they are no longer the stars and superachievers, they are plagued by deep feelings of shame and guilt.
And
Did y'all hear
that's
that?
for most of us here. If you got any trauma from your childhood and you're still healing your inner child, yeah, like you go deal with the feelings of shame and guilt whenever you feel like you're not achieving something.
Shit, you
Sometimes
could be
it's
highly successful.
right and
It
still
has nothing
feel
to
that
do with
way.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Another consequence of this emotional abandonment is the loss of a sense of self. When used as another's narcissistic supplies, a person develops in such a way as to reveal only what is expected of him and ultimately fuses with his own act or performance. He becomes a human doing without any real sense of his authentic self. According to Winnicott, his true self remains in a state of non communication.
Y'all hear this?
I described this earlier. This is the author. I described this earlier as no longer being in me. Such a person feels emptiness, homelessness, and futility. Our authentic self is not really lost. It has been repressed until a time when it is safe to come out.
Yeah.
It's a needy, shame-based parents cannot possibly take care of their children's needs. Needy and shame-based parents cannot possibly take care of their children's needs. The child is shamed whenever he or she is needy because the child's needs clash with the parent's needs. The child grows up and becomes an adult. But underneath the mask of adult behavior, there is a child who was neglected. Needy children are insatiable. They have a hole in their soul created by unresolved grief and developmental deficiency deficits.
Mm.
This makes them adult children. They can never get enough as adults. Healthy adults are satisfied with what they get and work harder to get more the next time. An adult child can't get enough because it's really a child's needs that are in question. Again, all of this is an excerpt from the book Healing the Shame That Binds You by John Bradshaw.
So what happens is we and I know you will even beat yourself up about being guilty and shameful. So you just get stuck in this cycle that you don't know how to break and
Mm-hmm.
get out of.
Mm-hmm.
And so really what it is, and I told Ernest this, like sometimes when I would have an interaction with him and it was a moment of deep feeling, it's just this sense of disconnect, almost like he's not in his body and not fully present. And then not only that, but it turns into, it almost feels like energetically I'm being sucked into a black hole of
Mm-hmm.
futility, of hopelessness, of no clarity,
That's
not
right.
feeling powerful. And I really couldn't put it into words, and I really didn't know how to explain it. I just knew energetically how it made me feel. So to find this, it really helps so much. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, what ultimately your family, what we call our blood relatives, ultimately were a part of our sacred soul contract to have these karmic lessons, to break
Mm-hmm.
these patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to the shame and the guilt, that is an intimacy killer. And I literally would feel like I couldn't get close to him. And what happens is, so this is why it's really important to be writing letters to your wounded inner child. If your
Mm-hmm.
wounded inner child keeps showing up consistently in certain ways and you feel like you're doing things that's sabotaging to you and your relationships and your life, write a letter to your inner child and be like, it's okay, you know, like you got triggered, yes, but I'm not the powerless man or woman that I once was. I got this under control. Just observe and watch me and watch how I take care of you. So this is remothering or reparenting, refathering yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, in the climate that we in right now, I don't feel like doing this without having a divine dark goddess mother assist you. I feel like it's probably going to be more beneficial for you to have a divine spiritual mother that's not in physical form, right? That is able to deal with your subconscious shit. And the more stuff that you've been through that comes back to your memory, like you can only a dark goddess for me was able to help me while I was in that abyss of energy. And this is ultimately what led me to studying the left hand path techniques of self realization and self mastery. So yes, so this is ultimately, this is the root of every issue for all of us, no matter what the issue is. I
Mm-hmm.
really believe that this is the root of it, and we are being called to bring our attention to it and heal and release that. So when
Mm-hmm.
you have a false morality system, even though your conscious mind knows that you don't believe in that, and you know the truth about it, but you can still have that subconscious pattern that's just so imprinted by shame and guilt. You
Mm-hmm.
don't even trust your magic,
So
right?
true.
Because maybe you feel like you always fuck shit up. I can't never get shit right. And this is wounded inner child stuff. And so you want to take note of that. When that's happening, that's your wounded inner child yelling at you. Or even, you know, just trying to send you a message.
Mm-hmm.
So write a letter, or if you can't do that, at least stop and address it.
Mm-hmm.
And use your words of power and speak to your inner child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I think, and especially in the melanated community, the generational trauma has been passed down. We stop emotionally growing and maturing. So a lot of us are spiritually evolved. Your soul, you know, has been there, been here plenty of times. Like you're coming to the awareness of these things, but you still wonder why my life has not shifted to where I feel like it should be. And 9 times out of 10 is because the wounded inner child sitting down in the root chakra is not feeling safe
Mm-hmm.
to for you to do anything. So the wounded inner child is gonna hold you back because ultimately that's all he cares about. And that's why the ego was created in the
Yeah.
first place.
Yeah.
So there is
I'm gonna share that.
a
Keep.
psychic virus going on of guilt and shame. So pay attention to how stuff make you feel, right? Because this is the real virus. It's the mental plane. They're infecting the mental plane of consciousness. And so what happened with Travis Scott, I'm gonna get into a little bit of that
I just
before we
dropped a
finish.
I just dropped a link to the book, y'all, on Scribd. So you can follow that link and go right to the book. Yeah.
So okay, so with regarding Astro World and that whole soul harvesting situation, like that's been going on for a long time. Except this time they kind of in a slick way almost live streamed it, so it's kind of like some Hunger Games shit. But it was like they tried to, it's like we ain't gonna be like we going live at 7 o'clock for you to watch Astro World. It wasn't like that, but they knew people would have their phones and people would be on live and streaming and taking pictures and selfies and stuff. So they took advantage of the technology to make sure that we saw it, right?
Yeah.
So let me get into, this is something I hadn't heard anybody else say, and it came to me, and I was like, I'm gonna share that because it's all relevant. And again, I just feel like right now, death is like the focus. Death is the focus. And so you can take that and use it to benefit you instead of weaken you. So if the whole world right now on the stage, we've saw so many agendas played out against us at one time. We're seeing a lot of people die, right? So it's a lot of death. So it, like, if you don't deal with that, face that, and then make a decision on what your stance is gonna be, then that energy, it takes over you. And so, like I told y'all, with the Lioness Gate portal of this year, it opened the veil up. The abyss is fully open. And you go back to the dreams that I had 8, 9, 10 years ago, those dreams are happening in exact order, the way shit is playing out. Even to the cube blocking the sun. Somebody caught some video footage of that today and put it on YouTube. So my point is saying that is, and when you're in the underworld, the dark goddesses is ultimately going to be one of the most beneficial tools while you are reparenting yourself. So that's just my personal opinion of what I feel about that. Take what resonates. So what I'm gonna do is just give you all some brief information as to how I feel like we can protect our sanity. Because when all that shit was going on, and I kept watching videos that people had shared with me and other people had posted, and when I got ready to meditate that night, I had a portal in my mind that had not been there before. And so as I was meditating and trying to fall asleep, I don't even listen to Travis Scott, but I kept hearing one of his songs played on a loop over and over again. And I almost had this sensation like I was falling through something. And so I have been working with Kali. I have been working with Segment, of course. That's my mama, And then I've been working with Belial or Belial. And so those energies are very protective. So when it was happening, I was like, this is crazy. They literally created a what do you call when you create another extension source? Like, I can't explain. It's like a hive mind.
Oh,
That the
okay.
concert kind of acts as a container to hold all of the energy, right? And so it's a lot of energy manipulation happening. So even though that's not happening anymore, if that happened to me, and as much as I practice good spiritual, beneficial hygiene for my spiritual self, I can only imagine what's happening to people who are not
Not
aware.
right.
And it's kind of like, remember when the Exorcist came out? A lot of people, when they
Yeah.
left the movie
A
theater,
host.
had
Yeah.
a lot of weird situations happen with them, possessions, freak accidents, and stuff. Y'all remember that? When Poltergeist came out, same thing. A lot of people on the set died, and people that
Body
played in it.
snatching. Yeah, like body snatching. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so I feel like it opened up a portal that a lot of
Body
people
hacking.
couldn't deal with. And so if you're having a hard time dealing with your own personal shadow aspects and bringing love to that, then yes, the demonic or lower dimensional entities, yeah, they go play with you, because it's just like, okay, you out here in these spiritual streets, but you're not facing and dealing with yourself. So when the universe is mirroring your trauma back to you, know that that is to protect you, and you just need to take heed to it and make the necessary steps to deal with it.
Yeah.
So that ritual,
Right there.
yeah, they allowed that to be seen that way, to steer people away from going into the darker aspects of alchemy and transmutation.
That's deep.
You see, they know that we are realizing, wait a minute, the demons is inside of me too.
Right. Nothing to
So
be
that is my
afraid
inner
of.
daemon. It's nothing to be afraid of. That part of me is the primordial part of me that exists outside of all programming and indoctrination. And I want to get to know that part of me, right? So they know that we're doing this. They listen to the videos and looking at our posts and stuff. So we're gonna see more Hunger Games type shit going on to make people be second guess themselves and be like, no. And the next thing you know, them same people is back at church and they start all over again on their journey. So that's the whole purpose, is to keep us in this perpetual cycle of not doing the real spiritual work that's going to allow us to vibrate up out of the bullshit. So yes, that's to turn us away from shadow work and our own inner demons, our own darkness. So they use that to rebrand evil, to put fear in people about the people who are consciously going into the abyss to deify and fortify themselves against the thought forms that have been feeding off of our pain for ages. This was a rebranding. We're gonna let this shit look so chaotic and terrible that what's gonna happen is it's gonna
Run away
cause a
from it.
witch hunt. And so people maybe like really didn't have much to say, but now since that happened, if they see your ancestor altar or with crystals or certain things, then they're gonna the subconscious mind has been programmed subliminally, and they gonna feel some kind of way and be like, oh, you with that shit from Astro World, you see? So it's to cause more division, because as we're pressing to be more authentic and show people like it's nothing wrong with my spiritual path, this is my path, that's yours, like that's to make us police each other. Now, one of the things that you can do to help you is bonding with your dark goddess as you reparent yourself. So one of the simple trick for doing that is wearing clothes that symbolize the dark goddess or have symbols on it of the dark goddess that you're working with. Colors. You coordinate the colors of the goddess that you're working with. So those are the options that you can do. For if y'all into shoes and stuff, fellas, and hats, like consecrate your shoes and your hats, whatever energy you're working with, right? And then you literally are like marinating yourself into that energy. So ultimately, all of this is within you anyway. This just helps you to align with it and work with
Totally
it.
embodied.
So number 2 is invoke the name of the dark goddess upon rising from sleep and settling into sleep. Okay, so like right before, when you're in those theta brain waves, we are highly receptive, and so you're able to change the neuroplasticity in your brain during that time. And so you want to catch yourself like right before you fall asleep, just call the name of whatever dark goddess resonates with you. Okay, and then when you're waking up, to do that. And so a lot of us, we've been trying to do this reparenting shit by ourselves, as we're realizing we had fucked up childhoods and it's sabotaging our life. We need to reprogram ourselves. But a lot of people are not really talking about the fact that the dark goddesses can act as a divine mother as you are going through that. Another thing you can do is charge a crystal with her image under the moon. I like to print out pictures of certain goddesses and put it with the crystal, charge it under the moon, chant her name while I'm holding the crystal in my hand. You can sleep with it, put it on your pillow, in your pillowcase, things like that, and have the energy of that dark goddess, that mothering energy, right? That is going to be very protective as well. So typically you can say their name 77 times, which is a number that's often used on the more left-hand path practices. But do what resonates. Some people will do 108 times repetition. Do what resonates. You might not have time to do any of that. You might be too sleepy. Like, just do something. Don't not do anything. Okay, it's dangerous to be idle right now. So make sure that you're giving intention and direction to every fucking thing that you do. You pick up where I left off?
One of the most effective tools for connecting with a demonic entity are corresponding sound frequencies, also known as ENS. That's ENNS. Whether you're trying to evoke a demon or simply invoke its energy in the moment, using a demon's N as a chant or a mantra can be powerful. we can borrow this nice explanation from Zabaroff's blog. Ends are sentences in unknown demonic language, or invitation, admiration, or request for protection for particular demons. Ends, again is spelled ENNS, were channeled by various persons. For the first time they appear in private grimoires or the demon
The
oh, wait,
monolithor.
the Demolator Alexander Willett in 16th century, and since then they appear in practice of various Demolator families, and lately outside of them too. Traditional demonolators claim that the same ends or similar were channeled independently by two different persons in different locations and that they stay consistently the same. Although we have no dictionary of every word used in ends, no knowledge about its grammar, it does exist, hence language. We know some words are aware roughly what some ends mean. For example, Ganic Tasafubin, Flareus, could be translated as fire protect the flame. Lord Flareus. Here is a playlist of demonic ends. And
And
I'll put this
yeah,
in the chat as well.
yeah. So that's just a little basic information about working with what we would consider to be demonic energies. These are the darker energies. And so whenever you're dealing with a lot of subconscious stuff, these are also archetypes. This is archetypal energy. We all have these energetic imprints on us. So if you get into some of the works, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to take the spookiness out of it and demystify some of the things, because a lot of times when you're viewing things through your shame self, your guilt self, your wounded self, your false self, you will have a tendency to,
Be
your conscious
judgmental.
mind is wanting to be in full alignment with what you're doing, but then the subconscious party was like, I don't know. And if you're feeling fear and stuff like that, so the more that you understand from different perspectives and from different schools of teaching, and you find a common denominator, then that's gonna give you more comfort as well on your journey when it's time for you to reach a threshold and set a new bar for yourself spiritually.
Yeah.
So it's worth noting that each of the archetypes has a shadow. This is according to Carl Jung. Jung classified the shadow as an archetype in its own right. But essentially, the shadow is an amalgamation of all the aspects of your true nature that has been rejected by the ego and thus not recognized by the conscious mind. Remember, there's not much communication going on between the conscious and subconscious mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? So your authentic self, if your false self is taking up a lot of space in your life, then your authentic self, it ain't even in position to be able to command anything, right? Because maybe your wounded inner child is the one running the show. So if
Mm-hmm.
you tend to be triggered easily, take stuff personal, and all the characteristics that we have went over, coping mechanism, if you use those a lot, then you're strengthening your ego and weakening your connection to your higher self.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, it is unconscious. You could say, for example, that the shadow is all the dark and evil aspects of you that exist in all humans. This is the collective shadow. We're all part of a collective shadow. We have a personal shadow. We have a shadow that is just created by our family bloodline and the generational curses that they deal with. So
Mm-hmm.
there's varying levels to
The
all of this.
shadows. Mm-hmm.
So quite rightly, you want to have control over your potential for evil, but it is also pertinent to be aware,
Pertinent.
pertinent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That word sounds so weird to me. Pertinent. It sounds like something like reach over yonder and get pertinent. Anyway, yeah, I
Yeah.
know what I mean. But to be aware that such aspects of your nature exist. So this is the awareness. This is going to help you to master yourself and have better control over your emotions. As long as you're denying and repressing and ignoring and not dealing with and judging different spiritual practices to tap into these parts of your subconscious mind, then you're just going to be in that cycle of shame and guilt and not ever reaching any of the goals that you set. So there are also aspects of your consciousness that you need but have repressed into the unconscious. These energies will emerge in your personality as a shadow archetype. Recognizing your shadow archetypes when they surface in your life will help you identify trapped emotions and release them and heal. Likewise, understanding the positive attributes of all the major archetypes will enable you to determine which archetypes are developed, which are dominant, which have possessed your ego, and which you need to mature.
Mm-hmm.
The 12 major archetypes offered by mainstream psychology are listed in the table below. In the second column, I have named Jung's original archetypes and stated which modern archetypes I feel closely resemble Jung's original. So he made a list of columns, and so some of the archetypes, some of the 12 archetypes that we have here, and again, there's typically a coordinating spirit, entity, goddess, Neteru, spirit guide that you can work with to help you. So artist, caregiver, everyman, explorer, innocent, jester, lover, magician, outlaw, ruler, sage, and warrior. Those are the 12 main ones, okay? And so all of these are going to vacillate between mother, father, child, hero, and your persona, right? So this is why a lot of mythology would use it and talk about it in this way, okay? So what is the Oedipal complex? Okay, the wounded inner child. And how does it connect to the wounded womb? For a lot of us, shame is something that was passed down to us through the womb space. So you may not even have specific memories of being shamed, but it's just, again, it's a default thing coming to planet Earth. We came to heal this shit and correct it. So when we are born, our awareness is solely in the unconscious. It is not until between the ages of 1 to 2 years old that we start to develop ego, our connection to the outer world. By the end of the first year of life, if not before, the ego germ of the child begins to prepare for its subsequent autonomy. Initially, this development, too, is sheltered by the mother, who supports and furthers the child's growing independence, just as she does its learning to walk and to talk. While the first postnatal embryonic year still stands under the sign of the unconscious unity of mother and child in the primal relationship, in which the mother is simultaneously world and self, the migration, as we have called it elsewhere, of the self from mother to child gradually begins. So, like, you're swimming in the soup of whatever it was that was your mama was dealing with in her womb. So, with this second birth at the end of the first year of life and postnatal embryonic period, the ego development and increasing independence of the child's personality become evident. Eric Newman, Fear and Development of Personality. That is the quote from his book. Now, the innocent child archetype is the aspect of your consciousness that can guide you back to the unconscious in search of innate wisdom. Jung believed this wisdom comes from the collective unconscious. Okay. I believe the collective unconscious is a mirror of the Akashic Library. So it's a reflection of all of the lessons that our souls have learned, evolution, yada, yada, yada. So, a second source of consciousness, which is separate from the personal unconscious or subconscious. As an archetype, the innocent is the most unique. It has been coined the Alpha to Omega, a phrase that has been associated with Jesus on his journey from being a mortal man to becoming spiritually enlightened. What this essentially means is that as a newborn child, we're totally oblivious to the outer world. We live in a pure state of bliss without any awareness of the dangers and stresses related to life. It is also said that you fall back into this state of pure consciousness when you die. The ability to connect with the innocent can instill this sense of utopia and trust in self within you. Integrating the divine child brings a state of inner peace. In some respects, primordial energies contain the purity and thus innocence of a child. Um, Demons, these energies that have been coined to be something to stay away from, they are very protective. They are primordial energies and they are very pure. And this has nothing to do with morality, but they, whatever the fuck angle that they come from, like they do what they do. They in their own lane. So it's a pure concentrated energy. Okay.
Mhm.
And this is no different than the stuff that we buy and eat. The more pure the source is, meaning there aren't a lot of mixed energies and thoughts and beliefs. So these demons typically are very focused, laser aspects of energy of these archetypes.
Mhm.
So that you want to go back into the innocent child, because if you feel shame and guilt a lot, then you don't feel innocent. You feel like a child who is bad, always doing something wrong, and that's going to follow you throughout your spiritual practices too, and it's going
Mhm.
to be impacted in a way that's not beneficial for you.
Mhm.
So it is the aspect of your nature that searches for happiness and is easily pleased. The innocent even desires peace for your enemies and embodies sympathy and sincerity. It is an archetype you need to call upon when forgiving people that have hurt you in the past. If you have a hard time forgiving people, 9 times out of 10, and it's a wounded inner child that you have not yet given attention to heal. And so that the wounded inner child, like, I'm not letting shit go. Like, I'm not letting nothing go. Letting stuff go and forgiving, that's for you to not be swimming in the soup of somebody else's toxic shame. So, thanks to this purity, people that have a dominant aspect of the innocent archetype in their personality have a gift for inspiring people to do the right thing. They can also offer hope because optimism is the primary motivation. Now, the shadow side of this innocent child aspect in all of us is that for all the positive traits that the innocent archetype offers, the shadow side causes serious problems in individuals and the world. And I mean, serious, that's an understatement.
Mhm.
And pick up.
Because the survival of the innocent
We're
is
almost finished.
dependent on others, people with a dominant child archetype are more inclined to follow and obey. This can make them lack responsibility and ignore reality. People that blindly defend someone evil, quote, because they have an emotional detachment to them are typically possessed by the innocent archetype. A woman that goes back to the husband that beats her, for example. We also find the innocent in people that defend political leaders, even when it is blatantly obvious to awaken people that politicians have no interest in serving the population. It is often the case that people living a sheltered life are strongly influenced by the innocent archetype. They have subsequently grown into an adult child and harbor childish personality traits. People that are possessed by the shadow aspect of the child archetype are easily to pick out. If you blame other people or situations for your bad luck, it is a sign of the child archetype. If you are moody or cold shouldered when you feel hurt, it is because you have not learned to deal with failure and accept your own wrongdoing. You might also be precocious and difficult to reason with. Moreover, you shy away from challenges and ignore anything that goes wrong. In doing so, you invite more problems into your life moving forward. Yet, every problem or situation you encounter in life is an opportunity to learn something about yourself. The shadow side of the innocent archetype acts as a catalyst for growth. This agrees exactly with our experience of the psychology of the individual, which shows the child paves the way for a future change of personality. In the individuation process, it anticipates the figure that comes from the synthesis of conscious and unconscious elements in the personality.
Mm.
It is therefore a symbol which unites the opposites, a mediator, bringer of healing, that is, one who makes whole.
Hmm.
It's Carl Jung on the archetypes and the collective unconscious.
Yeah, so that book is another book that I definitely recommend. I feel like one of the main things before we begin doing invocations and evocations of other energies to assist us is bringing in awareness to our own shadow self, learning these things about the archetypes, and it really does demystify like what magic really is, and you're just learning how to direct energy.
You want me to share this?
We can put it on the website.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is share the links to some of the sources that we use for this information and put them on the website. and you'll be able to slide over there when we get done and get it in. So, if you're having a lot of mental and emotional imbalances and that's the space that you're in, then we recommend that you work with the DBT deck, which you can order from Amazon right here. And I mean, this is phenomenal. This can be your tarot card, your divination, to give you clarity and instructions on how to move forward. It gives self-soothing practices, coping skills that are useful, that's not going to hinder or weaken you,
Acceptance
emotional
strategies.
regulation skills.
Just relationship effectiveness. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So start there, because this is the thing. People make you feel like that if you're not doing the other spiritual work and working with veves and sigils and energies and stuff, like you're not really doing anything. But I don't agree with that. If you are working to heal yourself and learn how to interact with the energies in your life that we call relationships, that is very spiritual and very powerful. And oftentimes that's the missing element. So I wouldn't recommend jumping in working with demons just yet. We gave the information so that it's available and it is here, because I know sometimes it's easier to get information through somebody that you've built up rapport with and trust versus just looking something up on the internet and getting it and you're unsure. So we put that in there because we know with what happened with Astro World, and I already saw this coming, more of us are going to be wanting to take control over our lives by delving into those darker energies and learning how to work with them, command them, and manifest with them, heal with them ultimately.
Okay, Phil.
So somebody had asked the question. I want to address it before I pull the card for us tonight for the collective. What was the question? It was regarding, keep going back. It's a little while ago. The church did lose a lot of real ones, sis. Yes, absolutely. The deification process. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. All right. Maura, I see you said, peace. Should we be making our own energies with the self-deification process? I definitely say yes. I think if you haven't figured out what your soul name is yet, though, I would work on that, feeling for your soul name. Sometimes we have more than one. This is just a name that resonates with you, that has a meaning, that's in alignment with you. So I recommend that first, because if you don't have a good gauge on that, who you are, even your birth name, why you got that name, what that means for you, you want to start there. Everything's about fortifying yourself before you do anything else. And yes, you can start working with these energies to make your own energy. And I've definitely been doing that. So like with the Kali Lotus Lux, that's a combination of Kali and Lakshmi energy that I use to make that particular potion. So again, but self-mastery is the key. So, working with demons are beings who are able to destroy things that you no longer need. So whether you invite them or not, it's going to be happening because the collective is being shadow worked. So it's going to happen either way. But, if you want to be able to guide more of your self-mastery, then yes, start with yourself, work with your soul name. Even if you create your own, that's good too. That's beneficial as well. Do that. And then, the rest of the deification process, it kind of unfolds itself to you as you go. But the real issue is what we talked about, the shame and the guilt. And that's going to block you from being able to be assertive. And working with certain energies, you must be assertive and you must be clear about what it is that you are seeking to manifest. All right. So let's see, what's a card for the collective? So yes, we are open to receive messages from you. What message do you have for us regarding what we talked about tonight? What is important for us to know? Okay, let me set this down. You gotta be kidding me. You ever have a card that stalks you? Like that card is stalking me.
It's a stalking card.
Look at that. Like I have pulled this card, I don't know how many times. Yeah. But okay.
You see what it is?
That's the, you see the lotus. I was just talking about the lotus flower. She got the lotus in her hand, right? Uh-oh. Okay, let's read about this card.
Karma of Kali,
What number?
number 38. Karma of Kali.
That's crazy. So that let me know that a lot of us here, we punish ourselves a lot. When this card come up, that means it's a lot of self-punishment and judgment going on. So she is completely and utterly in love with your divine essence, and in her love bestows endless gifts. Your path need not be one of endless effort. Your path need not be one of endless effort. Connecting with pleasure as a path of personal empowerment with an intention to bring spiritual benefit to the collective through softening and opening your heart is an act of giving honor to the divine feminine. Relax into the presence of what is as you slow your pace and make swifter progress. I'm slowing down, but my progress speeding up. Yeah, that's how it goes. So Kama is Sanskrit word that refers to the sweet stuff of life, pleasure, emotional fulfillment, and being completely present so we can experience life through all the senses. So it is also sensuality and physical vibrancy. Without the quality of Kama, our experience of life can become dry, bleak, and intimidating, a joyless existence with simply more tasks to be completed. If we are feeling exhausted, lacking in the qualities of delight and lightness of heart, then we have become deficient in Kama, sacred pleasure. In the realm of the goddess, the enjoyment of life is a sacred act of devotion, gratitude, and celebration. In the throes of profound challenge and transformation, we can feel disconnected from our joyfulness. It is as though it were akin to the bright days of summer and we are midwinter, wondering how it ever was that we could frolic about and barely anything when we now feel the need to cover ourselves with abundant protective layers. This is to be expected during times of intense suffering when we are dealing with an issue that has elicited grief or anger. Yet, if we allow our minds to remain open to the possibility of joyfulness and pleasure, they can find their way through like the sun breaking through clouds to bring us comfort. The oracle can indicate not only a more pleasurable way of being as part of your future, but also an offering of pleasure now, even if you are struggling to ease the strain and make the way easier overall. Accessing pleasure requires embodiment, a connection with the senses and the subtle nuances of feeling and beauty. Through embodiment, it is easier to receive the healing. It can manifest through the uplifting scent of aromatherapy, the warmth of a shower, gratitude for a safe and comfortable place to sleep, the sumptuousness, I love that word, of warm clothes or a satisfying meal, the delight of playful stillness in animals, the nutty sense of humor of a beloved human, the simple appreciation for the flow of the breath, or through the openness of being that spontaneously occurs in response to an expansive vista of trees and mountains. Kama is the spiritual practice of presence that leads us into joy, even ecstasy and bliss. It is the juiciness of feeling truly alive. If we have a complicated or confused attitude towards pleasure, the natural need for it can be denied or repressed. Yet it will not disappear. It will arise in some indulgence, addiction, or peculiarity of behavior, which creates suffering because it is not the natural expression of the natural need. The Kali of Kama helps us reconnect to our need for pleasure and its healthy expression. The oracle speaks of a gift entering your life from the will of the goddess. It is an invitation to relax and to receive. Sometimes we may unconsciously attribute divine will with intentions to demand more and more of us. Yet divine will has our best interests at heart. When we need to develop strength, it will certainly provide the experiences necessary for us to do so. but it also provides sweetness and pleasure, which we can embrace or not using our free will. The oracle speaks of a need to embrace pleasure and the many gifts of the goddess. This is not an indulgence. It can actually help you make progress on your spiritual path. To be able to embrace joyfulness is a gift. It provides us with relief and release when the path has been truly difficult. It is the summer to the soul's winter. To grow, we need both. The Kali of Kama is a message that we should not discard our need for pleasure. So much of what society promotes as pleasure is little more than disembodied escapism that creates further suffering rather than healing. This is why the metaverse, virtual reality, AI, everything that's happening is because on a collective level, our wounded shadow self is calling for something to remove us from this reality. So they're seeking to offer another dimension of world to exist in. There's not really a higher dimension. It's actually a lower dimension that's in a simulation to look like a higher dimension, if that makes sense. So it's a trap. It's basically a trap to trick you into being disembodied even further and not being able to do the real work that you need to. So the Kama of Kali is genuinely healing. That is how we recognize sacred pleasure through its effect. It has far-reaching positive consequences and leads to more energy, commitment, and discipline as a natural response to the alleviation of excess pressure. This teaching is not about becoming hedonistic or pursuing pleasure at any cost without wisdom or benefit. Instead, the oracle asks us to engage with pleasure as an act of honoring the goddess. When divine worship is genuine, it doesn't add to the suffering of the world but aids in relief. To understand this, we can give up the notion of pleasure as selfish and begin to associate it with the sacred. This oracle brings comfort. It speaks of the forthcoming grace of pleasure in your life and your capacity to truly be with it as an act of blissful divine devotion. So here's an invocation ritual that you can use to activate this. And I know for a lot of us, because we have dealt with those shame and guilt issues, sometimes you don't even think you're worthy of pleasure. To be honest with you, we attract a lot of stuff in our lives that we really don't have to deal with from our sense of unworthiness. And that comes from the sense of loss of self. And so, I mean, that's just a given on this journey. And sometimes you need direction from a divine being to assist you. So this is the invocation to activate this. Reflect for a moment on your most pleasurable experiences that awaken joy and gratitude in your heart. Let that feel good. Gaze at the oracle image or any lotus flower, because our brain receives information from symbols, right? And that bypasses the language barrier. And a lot of the boys, this is why subliminals and commercials and stuff work so well. So use images the same way they use it, you can use it. The lotus is a symbol of divine beauty and the pleasure this brings. Allow it to represent what you need at the moment, even if you don't consciously know what that could be. Be open and simply allow for the sensation of your heart being filled with such sweetness and delight that it causes a purging of old energies and an expansive sensation of floating, freedom, and love. Let your heart rest in this beauty now. Let your soul relax. You may like to repeat the mantra of the goddess Kali and the goddess Lakshmi. Damn it. Didn't I just tell y'all that Kali and Lakshmi were the ones who combined their energies for the Kali Lotus Lux? I didn't even have this deck when I did that. That's crazy. So to seal in the gifts of the goddess and allow them to multiply in your life for the spiritual benefit of all beings, this is the mantra. Om Cream Kaliye Namaha. Om Shreem Mahalakshmiye Namaha. And if you want to rewind this and go back, you can also pull up the mantras of Kali and Lakshmi. And you can sing that and just sing that and vibrate that and work with that energy to pull more of the pleasure principle into your life. And you can finish with your hands in prayer at your heart, and you have now completed your process. So for a lot of us, that's why we haven't been manifesting, and not healing and things like that, and not experiencing progress, because a lot of us punish ourselves. It's a default behavior from the subconscious mind. We punish ourselves.
Thank
A
you.
lot of us don't feel worthy of pleasure.
That's true.
And so much guilt been attached to pleasure for so long on this planet with the age of Pisces. A lot of that is like energy that's kind of sticking to us right now. So you've got to, Ashe, thank you. May it return to you.
Not only you,
And
Mora,
Day.
and Day Day.
Yes,
Yeah,
Ashe.
thank y'all for that. Yeah, may they return and multiplied in abundance. Yeah.
So what you have to do, you have to almost trick yourself, force yourself into receiving more pleasure. Where you like, you know what? Damn it, I'm worthy of this. I'm going to get this massage. I'm going to set a date and make it happen. I'm going to do this facial. Whatever it is, like you're worthy of that. Eat your food slower, and just taste everything.
She used to get on me about that because I'd be like devouring my food quickly.
Yeah.
It was that's a survival mechanism. We don't, you know what I'm saying, and we can unconsciously do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like you said, being more in tune with yourself and being grounded is taking your time and savoring every single bite.
Absolutely. And again, so I know I have mama guilt. So like if I'm doing stuff for myself, even if I go to the store and I got a chance to comb my hair and I ain't retwisted hers or something, I be feeling some kind of way, right? But I'm feeling pretty good about, I accomplished combing my hair today. Yay. I didn't get to hers. And I hear this voice be like, you're a fucking horrible mother. Like, and I'm like, well, I'm letting her be natural. She in her natural state. So no, you're horrible for judging me for judging her, right? So you kind of talk back to yourself so that you can expand to be able to receive that pleasure. And that's why I have an obsession with dark goddesses. I love Lilith, and her energy, because Kali as well, segment 2. They have this energy where it's just like you learn how to increase the capacity of pleasure that you can handle. And so that's a turn on for me, like figuring out ways to increase my capacity to hold pleasure. That alone. So, start making a list of stuff that feels pleasurable to you so that you can focus on the things that make you feel good more often. Because when you're doing shadow work this much, and shadow work is going on a collective level in the cosmos, yeah, it can get really overwhelming at times. And so this is going to bring balance back. And also the Kali Lotus Lux, most of my potions I make with Blue Lotus, the elixirs too. And so Blue Lotus is a very ceremonial, ritualistic, very metaphysically powerful flower to use. So yeah, that's why I use that, because I know the pleasure principle is key to this transformation. And I think that's what a lot of us have not been doing consistently. So we still dealing with shame and guilt and not feeling enough and lacking confidence.
Too many hang-ups.
Yeah. So you got to challenge yourself, and you might be scared shitless at whatever that thing is, or you might be feeling really, really guilty, and just talk, just have a dialogue with yourself, and be like, nope, it's no reason for me to feel guilty about this, So again, when you do the ritual that I shared with y'all, you can banish some of that. Soon as we finish, like I said, I'm going to go to Patreon and I'm going to repost the link for the false self funeral. We did a whole higher self ritual and made a whole movement out of it. And we all did it together. And that's still available on the website. If you haven't done that, the higher self ritual is there.
That's 11/11.
And we did it on 11/11. I channeled the information and put it together. So that's a portal energy. It's going to work through the heart chakra to help open you up so that you can receive. Because a lot of us, it's not that we don't give love, we don't know how to receive it. And if you're not open to receive it, then you give and give and give, and you're going to feel depleted, right? And really the issue is not the people that you're trying to love, but then it goes back to having that emptiness and that void and feeling like it can never be filled. It's insatiable. And so whenever you're trying to feel something that cannot be filled, you get yourself in a mixture of conflicting energies, and you're not going to be manifested. Girl, what you doing? What you doing? I knew you was doing something.
Yeah,
That was our cue.
the ocean's depth. The ocean's depth. Yes, yes. With proper intentions. Yeah,
Yeah,
psychedelics are definitely helpful.
absolutely.
But like
Absolutely.
I said, proper intentions.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So we're gonna slide off of here. We gotta get little mama to bed tonight for school tomorrow. We got a lot going on, a lot to do. Make sure you check out the website, check out our Patreon as well. All links are in the bio. Thank you so much, moderators, for
Yes.
getting on here and helping us. To each of you, I really believe that the shows that we do on Sundays set the tone for the rest of the week. I really, really do. So go out there and just do
So
what it
fuck it
is
up.
you came here to do. You know, just be like,
Fuck it
no,
up.
I'm going to do what I came here to do, even if it's a struggle and difficult. Like I'm gonna do it. Just be positive, affirm yourself. The banishing
That'd be so
ritual,
silly.
definitely do
But you
that.
laughing at back.
Okay. Like if that resonates with you to do that, definitely do that. The most powerful rituals and spells are typically the ones that you channel just come straight through you and not through anything else. And so most of what I share with y'all is
Yeah,
stuff that just
yeah.
comes straight through me and it's pure potential. It's a lot of potential there because it's not being tapped a lot by a lot of people using the exact same process. So that's just my personal belief. So yes, Kali Lotus Lux trial size. Like get it in, especially for those of you who travel a lot. This might be really good to have with you. If you sleeping in hotels and Airbnbs and stuff, it's a lot of energies and spirits out here. Like we had to pay Los Santo and do everything else to clear the space for
Man,
tonight.
it was a challenge to just go live.
Yeah, it was, and we pushed through. So we did that together.
Thank you, pretty crystal clear. I'm not
Yes.
tongue twisting. Pretty crystal clear. Thank you for that. Yeah, yeah.
So Patreon False Self Funeral is going to be there, and we're also going to put the links where you can go and do more research with some of the sources that we cited as well. That will be in the blog section of the website. So give us about 30 minutes or so to get everything posted, and it should be there. If you have any issues, let us know. For Nita, I saw what popped up in the chat. We're gonna address that for you and look at that and make sure that we do whatever we need to help resolve that issue.
Yeah.
If you're still having that issue.
One Miss Loving Life. Thank you so much, sister. Email us. Just email us and say hi so we can respond back to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, got something for you. Yeah.
I can't think of anything else. I think that's it. Y'all lingering and shit. Y'all like us, don't it? We like y'all too. We like, damn. When you get to talk about some shit, some starseed conversations, you'll be wanting to stop. You be
That's
like,
right,
man, this
that's
shit feel
right.
good. I feel at home. Like I can talk my weird shit and my big pyramid shit, and ain't nobody feeling no kind of way about it.
That's right.
Yeah, it's no price can be put on this shit right here. So with
That's
that being said, we are going to be doing more meditations and stuff that is going to be coming. We have the Dark Goddess readings now up and available. That's just straight subconscious mind stuff. I mean, it's raw, it's primal, it's pure. Sometimes it's just what you need. And so yes, that is there. Check out the blogs and check out the Patreon. We will be setting up War on Consciousness soon, part 2. Because they really getting jiggy with it. So shit, we go get jiggy with the information so that we can stay in position to be protected and to thrive on the things that we're creating.
We got that dark crystal elixir. Y'all know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So
that's a must have.
must have.
Yeah,
Must have.
yeah. Yes. So I think that's it. So y'all already know what it is. What we about to say, right?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Firewater. Yeah.
Let's
She
get
keep us on
jiggy.
schedule.
I try, but she succeeds.
She succeeds. Yes.
All right, so y'all already know what it is. We've had to, get ready for the rest of the week so we can create the week that we want to have, right? Using our words of power.
Using our words of power. Indeed.
Man, your third eye has just been kissed. Peace.
Peace.